It is true that for the work of God, for the work of evangelism to thrive, finance is very, very important. Those people that understand English will say finance is very, very germane. And we look at how important finance will be in evangelism. We now say, how effectively can we finance evangelism so that our nature, the personality that we are, will not be lost? Because when it comes to finance, most of us tends to ginger up, flare up easily because it relates to money. It is essential to understand the value of money and how to effectively handle it to avoid or minimize the problem associated with it in Christian mission or evangelism. The basis of this writing is that money is a valuable resource in the Great Commission, which, however, constitute a potential threat to the fulfillment of the Great Commission. As it is important for the work of evangelism, it also poses threat in the work of evangelism. And when we see evangelism, we look at it from the micro and the macro parts of it. When we are dealing with the four-faith discipleship model, they say the vision is global, the vision is local, and the vision is personal. So when we are dealing on the personal evangelism, it demands no finance. As we look at Luke 10:1-9, for us to go to our neighbor, our compound people, it needs no finance. But anything that takes us off from our comfort zone, finance is needed. And when we talk about the global aspect of evangelism, finance is very essential. Because of this, we are going to see the biblical perspective of finance or money. And after that, we are going to see the importance of money in Christian evangelism. Then we talk about problems related to financing in evangelism. Then we are going to see the perspectives or the principles of how effectively we can finance evangelism. Then above all, we now see how are we going to handle the work of evangelism in financing it. Then first, we are going to see biblical perspective. The Bible gives a very balanced perspective on money. While recognizing the danger inherent in the love of money, it never condemns riches or wealth as being evil in themselves. The Bible has never condemned riches or money in themselves, but the instrumental being that uses the money that falls in the use of money. Riches originate from God, according to Evans in his work in page 17. God promises Abraham great blessings that lead to his riches in Genesis 12:1-3 and Genesis 13:1. Solomon had much material possession, where we see 1 Kings 10:14-29. All this gives a practical sense to the wise saying that it is a blessing of God that brings riches in Proverbs chapter 10:22. The ability to make wealth and to enjoy it thus comes from God, and Bible quotations are listed there, numerous. See Ecclesiastes 5:19, Ecclesiastes 6:2, Deuteronomy 8:18. We see Proverbs 10:22. Hence, The possessions of riches is not sinful in itself. Accordingly, the doctrine of blessed are the poor and cursed are the rich find no expressions in the scripture. When we see Ecclesiastes 5 verse 19, Ecclesiastes 6 verse 2, Deuteronomy 8:18, Proverbs 10:22. However, the Bible also teaches that possessions of money or wealth is not always a sign of God's favor, nor is being indigent all the time in the signs of displeasure. So when one is blessed with material wealth, it's not a sign that God is involved. And one is blessed with the material wealth, it says that God also is involved. So we cannot say totally that all wealth comes from God, and we cannot say all wealth comes from Satan. So we must balance the equation and see how the Bible deals with the issue of financing. Besides the Bible teaches that riches can be dangerous. Yes, of course. Several instances of evil money planned out in people's lives illustrate this teaching. Two important New Testament accounts reveal the danger of wealth. The first has to do with the rich young man who could not meet Jesus' condition because he has much riches. This is an example of a man, a young rich ruler, that Jesus said, "Go and sell all that you have and come follow me." We saw that the young man left angrily. That is a reaction when one loves money too much. Then another one, when we see that in Mark 10:21 to 22. The other one is the account of Ananias and Sapphira, who kept back parts of the proceeds from the sales of their property in Acts of Apostles chapter 5, 1 to 10. Because they cling too much to money or finance, it makes it difficult for them to give all. And in other words, they said to the apostle, "We have given all." It leads to lying. Thus, money can constitute a hindrance to serving God, as it can also be a cause of covetousness. These money-related dangers are at the background of several warnings of Scripture concerning how we should handle money or finance. In all of this, we have seen that the Bible supports wealth, supports us having finance, but the Bible also warns the love of it will make us miss the mark. Then we're going to see the importance of finance in evangelism. One can commonly observe that money is involved in the missionary enterprise. When one or group of people come together to say, okay, we must spread the gospel. We must go from town, from cities to cities, countries to countries, spreading this word. It involves money. It is a fact. Whether one takes a support-based or faith-based approach, if you decide not to take money from any person, you are still going to need money to go around preaching. When you don't have the instrument to broadcast your message, as we have the mic, the sound system, you still need them. You have to travel from one point to the other, you still need them. If you want to take the faith-based approach, that I am so faithful, I must do the work without collecting any dime, we'll end up using our money still. Then when we want to take the approach of support-based, that someone comes to give us or assist us on financing our movement, our instruments, still in all round, finance is involved. Most often, when stakeholders raise awareness on evangelism, they present three crucial areas of responsibility to the audience. So we're going to look at it, namely prayer. They need to pray, they need to go. And another part, they need to give or discharge. When those that give support for evangelism gives, What they expect from it is prayers. And when you pray, what do? You go out there. As you go out there to preach, you are discharging the duty. It is. That means that money is a necessity for Christian evangelism. Put it in a candidly that the task cannot strive without money or finance. This truth is captured in the famous statement among the Yoruba Christians in Nigeria, which translates to money is the will of Christian. The will we talked about is the will that drives. If some of us have a car that we hold the steering, we call it steering. Is the will that drives it. So the Yoruba Christians, the part of Nigeria, make this adage that money, finance, is also a will to drive evangelism. It implies that money is fundamental to evangelization, just like the wheel is to the vehicle. Without money, then evangelism becomes grounded and cannot move beyond its immediate spheres of influence. Like when we talk that evangelism can be personal. Personal, we can come down from our house, the next neighbor, we can preach. It doesn't demand money. But when it moves from that point to the other point, money is involved. So the Yoruba adage says that money is a wheel that drives more. So with money, we can travel down to Uganda and preach to the interior village in Uganda. Without money, we will be stuck around ourselves. We cannot even go through the whole of the Delta states. Without money, the evangelism is grounded. It is true, and it cannot move further. The fare will become too minimal. This value of money in evangelism gives rise to some critical issues related to Christian stewardship. When money is involved, we have to test our stewardship, isn't it? It is true. Marvin and Newell, page 1 in their writing, stated that they put forward 3 of such matters, namely strategic giving, strategic receiving, and strategic advancement. When we receive this money or this financing is coming, those that give it, strategically, the money is given for the work. Then strategically, we are going to receive the money. Strategically, we are going to disburse it so that other language will not come out of it. Stewardship is a core when finance is mentioned in evangelism or among Christians. He knows that the place of money in mission has provided a possibility for people who are genuinely blessed by God to invest their resources. When we go out to meet brethren, to meet congregations, to help us, or organizations out there to help us on evangelism, it is God's provisional area or arena for those that have wealth to put in the work of evangelism. Since they cannot go out to the field to do the work, they can finance the work so that the work will go far. This is to say, God has blessed some people and they seek to spend their money in the kingdom purposes. Knowing that they cannot go to the mission field in person, they gladly get involved in missions by giving to support those who go. So, some of us that are willing to go to the field for evangelism, they are telling us that some are ready to put their resources in it. So what our work is to meet those personalities so that they will support our work of evangelism. In saying that, we